أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. My dear brothers and sisters in Islam, once again, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. Our topic today is about reading and touching the Noble Quran for or by menstruating woman and bleeding woman after a childbirth, as well as those in a state of major impurity or sexual impurity. We will try our best with the help of Allah to explain this important subject in a simple and brief manner, so that all of us will be able to understand and comprehend, inshallah. So let us start with the first question. The first question is it permissible for a menstruating woman or bleeding woman following childbirth to read the Quran? Question number one again, is it permissible for a menstruating woman or bleeding woman following childbirth to read the Noble Quran? According to the more correct view of scholars, it is permissible for a menstruating woman, what we say in Arabic al-hayd, or bleeding woman following childbirth, what we say in Arabic nifas, to recite, to read the Noble Quran, especially if there is a need to do that. For example, if she's fear of forgetting what she had memorized, she can read the Quran. For study purposes, such as writing an exam that is related to Quranic knowledge, she can read the Quran, even if she's menstruating. Or to recite verses on herself for ruqya, to seek healing, she also can do that. Because women during the era or during the time of our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to menstruate, and there is no evidence that they were prevented or prohibited by Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam from reading the Noble Quran or making dhikr, remembrance of Allah, or making dua, supplication. Rather, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to encourage them to attend the Salatul Eid, the Eid prayer, with other Muslims, and making takbir and dhikr with them. So my brother, my sister in Islam, menstruating woman or bleeding woman following childbirth can read the Noble Quran on condition, listen to this carefully, on condition that she does not touch the Noble Quran, because no one should touch it except one who is in a state of purity, in a state of tahara. He has to be tahir, pure. I hope the first question is clear. She can read it, but she cannot touch it. Question number two, what about if she needs to read from Quran? Is she allowed to touch it? A woman, let us put it this way, she wants to read the Noble Quran. She doesn't memorize anything in the Noble Quran, so she needs to open the Quran, which means she has to carry the Quran, which means she has to touch it in order to open it. Can she do that? My brother, my sister in Islam, if a woman really needs to read from the Quran itself, means to open the Quran and read it, she may touch it, she may do that, she can do that, but listen to this carefully, with a barrier, such as handkerchief, such as clean clothes, or she wear gloves, and etc. Means she can do that, she can touch it, because she has no any option but to touch it. So she may do that, but that should be through a barrier, such as, for instance, to carry the Quran in a handkerchief, clean clothes, etc. Or she can wear the gloves, etc. Because as I mentioned earlier, no one should touch the Noble Quran except one who is in a state of purity. As Allah Ta'ala said in chapter 56, verse 79, Surah Al-Waqi'ah, لا يمسه إلا المطهرون. No one should touch the Noble Quran but one who is pure. لا يمسه إلا المطهرون. I hope this one also is clear. She can touch it if she really needs to do that, but she has to do it through a barrier, through something, to carry the Quran through something. Question number 3. What about a person who is junub? A person in the state of major impurity, or we can say sexual impurity, after having intercourse with his wife or her husband. Is it permissible for him or for her to read or listen to the recitation of the Noble Quran? My brother, my sister in Islam, it is not permissible for one who is in junub, in the state of sexual impurity, to read the Noble Quran from the Quran itself, from the Mus'haf, or to recite the Quran from memory, from his memory or her memory. Means her memorization. She cannot even read if she or he in the state of sexual impurity or major impurity, until he or she perform the ghusl al-janaba, Islamic bath. Because nothing kept our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam from reading Quran, from the Noble Quran, except janaba. This is the strongest evidence. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he is in janaba, he will stop reading the Quran. So nothing kept him sallallahu alaihi wasallam from reading the Quran except janaba. Even though there are some views who see nothing wrong with that, but the view of the majority of the scholars who prohibit this is more accurate, is more correct. You cannot read, you cannot read from the Quran itself, you cannot recite from your memory until you perform the ghusl al-janaba. As for the listening to the recitation, you are in the state of sexual impurity. You can listen to the recitation of the Noble Quran. Let's say Ida'atul Quran al-Karim. You can listen, right? Ulama said no issue with that, but you cannot read it. As for one who has broken his wudu, his ablution, and is impure, this is what we call minor impurity. He may recite the Noble Quran from his memory or from her memory, but he should not touch the Quran. I hope this is clear. If somebody is in a state of sexual impurity, major impurity, he cannot read the Quran from the Quran, he cannot read from his memory, but he can listen to the Quran. Listening only, no problem. Question number 4. Can a menstruating teacher or student recite or read or touch the Noble Quran during their menstruation period? A teacher, a Quranic teacher, a student, Quranic student, who goes, for instance, let's say to Islamic school, she's teaching Quran, she's a teacher of Quran, and this student, she's learning Quran. Can they touch the Noble Quran? Can they read the Noble Quran? According to scholars, the students or teachers can read the Noble Quran and touch it with a barrier, as we have explained. If they have to touch the Quran, so they have to touch it with a barrier, as we have explained, such as handkerchief, such as wearing hand gloves, such as clean clothes, etc. Even though in the Malikiya school of thought, Madhab al-Malikiya, it is permissible for menstruating women to touch the Noble Quran in order to teach or learn to read it. Means a teacher, according to Malikiya school of thought, a teacher, Quranic teacher, a woman, menstruating woman who is teaching the Quran, she can touch the Quran, because this apply also to the student who is learning the Quran. But the correct view is the view of the majority of scholars, that yes, they can touch it, they can read it, they can, but through a barrier. they have to put between their woman menstruating teacher, she put between her hands in the Quran something like hand gloves, as we said, or handkerchief, or clean clothes. In short, let us memorize this. It is permissible for a menstruating woman or bleeding woman following a childbirth to read the Noble Quran, because the duration of menstruating takes longer time, as we know, a week to 2 weeks. So she should not be deprived from getting reward of reading the Noble Quran, because the time really takes longer time for menstruation. It's a week to 2 weeks. For nifas, bleeding is more than that. Therefore, a woman should not be deprived from getting reward of reading the Noble Quran. Therefore, she can read the Quran. Number 2, a person who is in the state of janaba, sexual impurity, major impurity, is not allowed to read the Noble Quran until after he or she has taken the ghusl, hence Islamic bath, because he or she can bath directly and quickly after the intercourse without any delay. Means is in their control. After finishing the relationship between wife and husband, they can perform ghusl immediately without any delay. On this basis, ulama said they cannot read the Quran, they cannot touch the Quran, they cannot even read it from their memory or from their memorization, because it is under their control to take bath, Islamic bath, immediately. Unlike the menstruating woman and bleeding woman, as we mentioned, the duration is longer. The duration is longer. So they should not be deprived from getting reward of reading the Noble Quran. Number 3, we said also the students and teachers of the Islamic school, for example, can touch it with a barrier, as we have explained. Finally, my brother, my sister in Islam, I'm repeating, the Noble Quran cannot be touched by anyone but one who is pure, who is tahir. So what about the mobile phone? What about computer? What about any devices that we install Noble Quran in it? According to scholars, mobile phones, computers, any device that we install the Quran, the Noble Quran in it, cannot be called a Quran, cannot be called a Mus'haf. Because there are many reasons that scholars mention explanation, but let us mention one only, in order to be able to comprehend why. As you know, we are not allowed to take the Quran into the washroom, into the bathroom, into the toilet. But mobile phone or computer or any device, we are allowed to take it into the washroom, isn't it? So the reason why we are saying this, reading the Noble Quran on a mobile phone makes it easy for women who are menstruating, because it is not essential for the one who touches the phone to be in a state of purity. Nobody said that you have to be pure in order to touch the phone. So that what is in the phone, the phone cannot be called as Quran. I hope this is clear and understood, and Allah knows best. Ya Allah, the Merciful, increase our knowledge and join us with the righteous people. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا والحمد لله رب العالمين.